Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Supernatural, The Bad Place. And I really like this episode, though there's a part at the end that I was just a little bit like, okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but we'll kind of see what has to happen. So, we start off, and we see this guy, Derek, kissing his girlfriend, and he's an artist. And so, evidently, he sells his paintings and all that, and he has a buyer coming. So, of course, his girlfriend's got to go to work, and as she's about to, doorbell buzzes, and they go open it up, and who is it? Jack! And they're both kind of surprised at how young he is, but, of course, he kind of brings him in, kind of gives him the lowdown of what he does, usually changing up what medium he uses, depending upon the subject, and Jack kind of starts going into his background, talking about what was in the article, saying that he's a dream walker, and he goes, yeah, you read the article and everything, and goes into where he was raised, how his father was a medicine man, and his father before him, all the way lineage back to this shaman Black Elk, and he's going, okay, going into saying that he sees other worlds, and he wants him to do it for him, to dreamwalk for him. And it's kind of strange because you're going, okay, what's Jack's objective at this point? So he's saying it's not going to happen, but he pulls out money and says they don't pay him for it. So he goes, all right, where do you want me to go? And he points at a painting, and Derek has dreamwalked to the apocalypse world that we've known. And it's a pretty cool painting. They really did some good jobs with the different kind of paintings, but this looks pretty sweet. So he pretty much sets himself up. He gets his feet in some water and kind of starts going. He goes, oh God, he doesn't really like that place. And Jack's telling him he has to keep going. But Derek says he's not strong enough. So Jack kind of goes up to him, puts his fingers to his temple, and gets his eyes to light up and has energy veins going into Derek. And they start going through, and he's going, I can see it, and he's with him, and we see that this is taking a toll on Derek because the water at his feet starting to bubble and boil as well. And he goes, I'm not strong enough, please stop, and then he screams. And then the girlfriend comes back and sees Derek on the floor with his eyes burned out. So we're immediately into a kind of mystery of, okay, was this Jack? How did this happen? So we get to Sam and Dean. Dean is on the phone trying to get a hold of Patience because since she's a psychic, they're hoping that she will be able to help them locate Jack. But, of course, he gets her voicemail, just kind of leaves it, and just kind of goes on with that. They get into seeing how Cass is doing for his leads, and Sam says that he's in Tucson looking up that lead. And then Dean gets a phone call. It's from Jody, saying that it looks like their boy is tied to this case where the police buddies told her that they found a corpse with its eyes burned out, and Jack's description came up from the girlfriend. So they go, okay, gotta go do that. Then we switch off to Patience, and she's looking at the phone, and Dean has called her 6 times, but they're missed calls. And of course, she's doing studying and all that, but then her dad comes in and pretty much hammers on her that she got a C on a test. And she's going, it's just one test, whatever. And the dad goes, this is a part of the plan. You get perfect SATs, perfect GPA, you get your pick of your Ivy Leagues, and you can do whatever you want to. But she then kind of says under her breath, one thing, well, I can't do anything except this one thing. And he goes, what are you talking about? And she talks about how Dean wanted their help, psychic help, and that she hasn't answered it or anything. And she's still kind of trying to figure out what to do. But he's goes, well, you haven't any visions, right? And she's like, right, yeah. And then the dad leaves, and she still looks at the phone. So we know that she's not being entirely truthful with him. So then we get to Sam and Dean in the Impala. They get to the girlfriend and talking about how Jack came in as a buyer and how Derek's all about like the freaky stuff that goes on. Dean's looking around. And Sam goes, well, he had quite an imagination, but then we really get into it. And she goes, he would hate that word, imagination. He would more call it reportage, that he was visiting other places. And when he was dreamwalking, Dean, of course, then sees the painting of the apocalypse world and shows it to Sam, and, okay, he's got to be trying to find Lucifer or something. That's what they get into the car, and Sam's saying that the lore on Dreamwalkers is inconsistent, and that they gotta have to do a little bit more research. And of course, where he brings up the whole Lucifer thing, saying that they gotta be prepared to take Jack out. And that they have to find another Dreamwalker or a chief or tribal leader to get more info on Dreamwalkers. But, of course, Sam had hacked into Derek's email and learns that he was corresponding with Kaya Nieves, and he was trying to coach her and teach her to control her powers. That, of course, then leads us to seeing Kaya herself, and she is in a addict therapy group. And they're trying to get her to talk and everything, saying, yeah, you kind of have to talk about your overdose. You were unconscious in an abandoned tenement with enough prescription amphetamines in your system to kill a small rhino. And, of course, with the stolen pills in her bag. Of course, she says she got it from a dealer and all that. And that the court has sent her here to get better. And she's going, I'm talking. We're doing everything, okay? And she goes, I don't belong here. And, that she hates doing this, putting the junk in her body. She's only doing it to keep her awake. So, that puts it more on a kind of, I would say, Freddy Krueger situation where she doesn't want to use these drugs, but she is so afraid of going to sleep that she will do anything to stay awake. Because that's even more evidenced because of the scars that she has on her arm, and she doesn't want to talk about those either. Of course, before they can really get into it, a buzzer goes off and they kind of do a little break, and a dude comes up to her, and it's Jack. They introduce themselves. He introduces himself. She's asking what he's there for. He goes that he likes cocaine, and she's going, okay, you need to find a new day one buddy. And she starts going in on that you're a friend of Derek, and he told me about you and your powers, and that you could help me. And that you could dreamwalk like him. And not just that, but you were the most powerful that he had ever known. And that Jack needs her help. And she's going, I don't know what he's told you about dreamwalking. And he goes, I can help you out of here. And she goes, how? And he just follows me. This, of course, then starts going in parallel while Sam and Dean are there outside of the kind of center and get the lowdown on Kaya, where she didn't know her father. Her mother died when she was 12. Her aunt then took her in and then died of cancer. So she's been on her own until she OD'd and arrested. And they're just kind of going, well, that's a pretty bad hand that she's got. So we see Jack, and we get some more, they show us how Jack has kind of gotten better at control of his powers. We see that the dude that was leading the group goes, where are you going? And then he boops him, and he goes to sleep. So he's gotten that kind of power and that kind of control over it. She's going, what the heck's going on? How'd you do that? Oh, don't worry, he'll be okay. He's asleep. You're not the only one with powers. And then continues on. So, of course, they get to a door, and Jack breaks through it, and Kaya's like, that thing was triple locked. And then he goes, was it? All right. And she says she doesn't know what's going on. You did your deal. I'm getting out of here. And he goes, but we had a deal. And, of course, if you go back, he really didn't get her to agree to anything. He just immediately went, okay, if I help her, she'll help me. And she just kind of shuts that down, going, no, all I remember saying is that you would get me out of here. But, of course, Jack grabs her and goes, no, I need your help. But then, of course, that's when Sam and Dean show up. And she hits him and runs away. And Sam and Dean, of course, get a hold of him and go, what are you doing, man? And Jack's trying to get them to get after her. He's saying that she's getting away. And he goes, I'm doing this for you. And they're like, you killed Derek for us? And he's kind of shocked. He's like, he's dead? And, of course, Sam and Dean go, alright, we need you to tell us what was going on with you. So he said he will have to get a grip on his powers and to prove that I'm good. I was going to do one good thing, what you wanted most. I was experimenting with opening doors to other worlds, and he could almost do it, but he couldn't see it. And that presents some intriguing possibilities of Jack has amazing powers, but maybe he's got some not weaknesses, but certain things that he cannot do at the moment or he needs assistance with, and that's why he's needed the Dreamwalker, saying that he needed a seer in order to open up those kind of doorways. So he went to Derek, he researched Dreamwalkers like he was taught, and this was a really cool moment showing how he has kind of used his Hunter's abilities to do this one good project that he wanted to do for Sam and Dean. So he got there, he was able to help Derek kind of see it. He almost got to it, but he wasn't strong enough. And we see Mary in the cage, and Derek had to let go, and they apologized. Derek was fine when Jack left him. That's, of course, where he turned him on to Kaya, who was stronger than him. And, of course, they dropped the bombshell that Mary is alive. We've known, but Sam and Dean didn't have verification for it. And Dean's going, really? What? And what do you mean? And he says that she's in danger. And they're like, what does that mean? Well, let me show you. And then he shows both of them, and they see Mary in the cage that Lucifer was in, that Michael was interrogating Lucifer in, and she asks for help. Then, of course, they stop the vision, and Dean's Mom. And Jack's like, he was so close, I could have touched her. But Derek wasn't strong enough to hold the connection, and he didn't want to burn him out, so he stopped. And, of course, she's the key, and we see that Kaya's hitchhiking, a car stops, and she says that they're going anywhere, and as long as it's anywhere but here, and we see an angel blade, they kind of knock her out and stuff her in the car. So burned out eyes are usually, or at least the way his eyes are burned out, lead to angels, so of course that's going to lead to some interesting predicaments. So then we get back and we see this strange place. This kind of big skull, impatient, and we're like, okay, what's going on? Patience then sees Jody being stabbed by someone, flashes of Sam and Dean, and we see that Patience is in a Jeep. Someone honks on the horn telling her to get out of the way, and she does. Then we get back to Kaya with the angels, trying to figure out what's going on. The woman's like, we want Jack. She's like, who, what, cocaine boy? And starts delving into telling this girl who is really out of her element, who is just trying to stay afloat with these powers. You're like, no, you're the son of Lucifer. We tracked him to Derek. We tortured him. He was uncooperative, and told that he would head to you. So we killed him. Due diligence, cover our tracks. If the Winchesters are involved anyway, so we needed you as bait. And she goes, listen, I don't know why they would. There's no reason they would come for me. Nobody. And as we're seeing that, let's see here. We then get to Sam and Dean talking about, okay, the cops are looking for her too. We've got to find her fast. And Dean is saying to Sam that you were right. Mom was alive. We should have been looking for her. And Sam's like, listen, I didn't know. I was just hoping. We have to find her no matter what it takes. And this is important because this is always the kind of thing that kind of drives them, either be it Sam or Dean, now Mary Winchester. And then they get to talking to Jack, and Jack's like, you thought I could kill Derek like that? And of course they go, we didn't know what had happened. It could have been an accident, and he goes, kind of like the security guard. Yeah, they were worried when he disappeared. Didn't know where he'd go. Thought they would look for his dad. And he goes, you mean Lucifer? And he's like, I was scared and upset, but why would I look for him? He's no one to me. And this is an important thing, and a pretty cool thing to pop up is that Lucifer means nothing to Jack. He's like confused why you would ask me that. You, Castiel, you're my family. And Dean kind of nods going, wow. kind of like how Dean views it. He views Sam as his family. He views Cass as his family. He views anybody that tries to attack his family, he fights back on. And I think Dean appreciates that Jack views them as family, like Cass views them as family. And that was kind of cool. And he nods and goes, okay, that's cool, now that he's got confirmation of that. And another kind of bonding moment with him and Jack. And then Dean kind of applauds him for what he's doing. He said, you did a really good thing, trying to find their mom and everything. And Jack smiles. And so does Sam, being like, okay, Dean's really getting into it. But then, of course, Jack then winces, and it's the Angel radio, and Dean stops, and, of course, Jack now knows that they have Kaya. Alright, so then we get to Patience, and the dad's asking about why she's packing and all that, saying that she only missed a few days of school, and he's afraid for her, but she goes, someone's in danger, I've had a vision, and they've never stopped, and you've raised me to do the right thing, and this is the right thing. I gotta help this friend, and I gotta help them. And as she's going out, her dad goes, if you leave, you can never come back. And she chooses to leave. So, I understand why her father didn't want her to get into that lifestyle, because he was always afraid of monsters, he was always afraid his mom would die, and I don't think he could really bear to keep that going on with his daughter. Still, it's kind of a harsh thing to say to her. So, we then get to the angels holding Kaya, and we get the one angel guy outside of the warehouse. She's still trying to say that there's no reason why anybody would come for me, and they're going, of course you don't matter. We'll kill them, take the boy, and we'll be good. Dean, of course, thinks that's so. They have the dude hostage now, and they're going, yeah, your plan sucks. Give me the girl, give us the girl. And, of course, they try and sweet talk Jack, but he goes, you're not my kind. You kill people, you kidnap people. And they then try the other tactic, well, we'll take you home. And he goes, I am home. And then, of course, we start the fight. The dude kind of headbutts Dean and is going out for them. Jack does a force push kind of thing on the woman angel and then sends her flying across the room. And then right before the other angel is about to stab Dean, he does a force bubble thing around him and then forces him to stab himself. And it goes, whoa, oh cool. So Sam and Jack are the ones getting Kaya untied while Dean tries to go after the woman angel. And she's getting the lowdown. Oh, okay, they're angels? Yeah, we're hunters, we kind of go and kill things like that, and you're the son of Satan. And, you know, yes, I am. Oh god, this is insane. Dean comes back saying, yeah, world's kind of crazy. She got out of here, so we just kind of have to go, alright? So they're going outside, Jack's like, we can protect you, and they say, no, it's a lot, but we need you to help us. Our mother's trapped in another world. Jack can open a door, but he needs you to kind of find the place. And we get an idea of Jack's plan. He was going to take her to the wind caves because there's certain areas where the walls between worlds are thinner. I kind of like that they're introducing this concept. It's going, alright, pretty cool. Multiverse and everything, but they got to be careful, because if you keep doing stuff like this and ripping holes in reality, there could be serious repercussions. So, of course, Kaya goes, no, thank you for saving my life, but I can't do this. And of course, Jack's going that it's a gift, but she says it's not a gift. That Derek was free to walk, but she always goes to the bad place. And that if she's hurt there, she's hurt here. She kind of goes there physically, showing us the scars. She's got other scars and all that. And, of course, you feel for Kaya at this, going, okay, I can understand why she doesn't want to do this. But, of course, this goes to Dean going, cocking his gun. Sam had said that we'll find another way, but Dean cocks his gun, tells her to get in the car, and then forcefully points his gun at her, yells at her to get in the car, and she does. Sam looks worried, and everything's going, oh god. So they're trying to go to South Dakota. While they're driving there, Sam's trying to kind of reason with Dean, but he's going, listen, we need to get Mom back, no matter what it takes, remember? And of course, Jack is apologizing to Kaya and wanting things to be different. and that he reached out because he thought he could help, that you could help me and I could help you. And of course, Kaya blames Derek's death on Jack, which I think is unfair. Jack didn't want to put Derek in a situation. It's just the nature of Jack being wanted by everybody, and it just so happens that Derek got caught up in it. So, of course, he's trying to tell her that there's not just bad places and everything, trying to convince her. She goes, all right, you got 5 seconds. And, of course, he puts his fingers on her temple, shows her, and she breathes in and kind of has a smile and sees all the other places. Because she's had such negative experiences, I believe, this bad place is more of a magnet to draw her in. She is more in tune with it and hasn't been able to kind of tune herself out to see the whole view, which, of course, Jack is able to help facilitate. So she goes, wow, okay. And looks a little bit different than how she's thinking about her powers. But, of course, what happens is a car appears in the front and turns the headlights on, pretty much almost causing a collision. So they kind of turn off into this shipyard. And they get out. Sam, Kaya, and Jack kind of go up to the ship. Dean sets himself up. The woman angel comes out saying that we need the boy. We're running out of angels. He's the only one who can save us. And Dean's like, as far as I'm concerned, you dicks can fry. And she goes, well, you first, as more angels come in. And Dean chooses the wise route of running to retreat. So, as we're seeing what's going on, Sam's putting up wards. Kai's asking what's happening. And Jack's trying to say, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Well, of course, Dean comes in and says, there's a lot of them, we're screwed, we need to keep going up. So, of course, the angels set up, there's 7 of them, so that's a pretty big force that they honestly really do need in order to try and catch Nephilim. So, they're trying to figure out what to do, and they kind of array themselves and start blasting, using their angel powers to destroy the warding. So, they're kind of apologizing to Kaya, saying that, I'm sorry, this isn't your fight. Dean kind of showing a little bit of remorse for what he has done to bring her into this, and saying, okay, we could blast, Sam putting up the idea that we could blast him out, but Dean goes, if we let him in here, we're dead. So, only option is pretty much guns blazing kind of thing, and Kaya comes with the idea, okay, if I can help him find another world, can't we just open up a door and go into that world and get out of here? So they're, okay, do what you gotta do. So, of course, while they're kind of worrying and see what's going on, we see Jack set up with Kaya, and she goes immediately to the bad place. And we see this kind of weird creature coming towards her, but then, of course, Jack kind of helps her focus and span out and see all the different kinds of multiverse. And of course, they're able to get onto the Apocalypse world, and they're pretty much at Mary. But, of course, she keeps flickering back and forth between the worlds and tells her to focus. But, of course, it doesn't completely work out right, and she's got her eyes open, and she starts screaming, and then a wave blasts and poofs out the angels. Then another wave blasts, and everybody disappears. And then, of course, the camera pans, and we see a rip, just like the one that appeared when Jack was born. So, then we switch back and we see Jody trying to call Sam, trying to figure out if everything's alright. And then, of course, here's a knock, and Patience is there saying that she had a vision that something bad's coming. So, I kind of like how they've been doing this with the whole Wayward Sisters. It feels more organic than just plopping one episode to be a complete pilot, backdoor pilot to it. I like how they're building up Jody, building up Patience, building up the rest of the crew for when they eventually do that show. And that's what this is kind of setting up. Now, of course, this is probably doing everything with the whole multiverse and trying to get a team on this side to help get everybody back to our regular supernatural universe. Because as we see in the shipyard, we see the aftermath. We see the angel blades melted into the ground. We see the angel wings on the walls and knowing that they're dead. We then see Kaya on the side of the road, but we don't know exactly if it's the supernatural world that we've been following or another world. We then see Mary in the cage, and we look down and we see that Jack is underneath, but he's by himself, and he looks up and they look at each other. We then see Dean waking up, going, okay, Sam, are we alright? And it looks like Kaya's bad place. And they're asking, where the hell are we? And they go walking around and they get into this kind of giant, not hole, but depression. And it pans out and we see it's a dinosaur footprint. And we hear a roar. Now, I felt that this one was kind of a shark jump a little bit. I mean, granted, there's been a lot, but it feels kind of similar to a Dragon Ball moment because we've gotten into Dragon Ball Super and there's all these other different universes and now we're into Supernatural and it's all these other different universes, but I like that kind of concept. They could have fun with this concept. It's just, I'm thinking, dinosaurs and Supernatural? Now granted, I know they're doing a Scooby-Doo crossover thing as well, which that one I'm really interested to see because they could really have fun with that, but I'll wait to see what they do with it. I liked the things that they presented with Jack's character development, that he's trying to do something good for Sam and Dean and save their mom. I like how they've developed Kaya's character as this. Now granted, she's not the most developed at the moment. They'll hopefully do that more through this whole kind of trial that they're going through, that they're all possibly separated throughout the multiverse and trying to get back together and get home. But there's an interesting groundwork there that I hope that they can make a pretty good character with. And then seeing Patience and Jody and trying to figure out how they're going to fit into this. I was just like, dinosaurs? Granted, it does make sense because, granted, we're getting into the 13th season. And you got to try some new stuff. So hopefully this will lead to some interesting Jurassic Park references and all that. And hopefully they really go with it and just really have fun with the scenario. But I was just like, dinosaurs? Okay. I was just going, oh my god, it's like seeing Fonzie jump the shark. Oh my god. But if they can do something good with it and keep it on point and have fun with it, I think it'll be a really cool addition to this season. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.